Superman is in huge trouble. Warner Brothers is nervous about it, and they're nervous about James Gunn's DCU, and that's just the title of the video. There's a lot more going on here, and there are a lot of articles being written about it. You see, Culturians, we have a Superman that is in dire need of support, or maybe not. A lot of it's going to depend on what the story actually means. Superman's blue suit, his cape, and of course, truth, justice, in the American way is maybe suffering from some guilt by the people that are producing this particular IP. And when it comes to Warner Brothers Discovery and James Gunn, they're kind of struggling behind the scenes, according to some, about who's actually in charge or the overlord of these DC films. They the folks Warner Brothers specifically are actually quote unquote sweating bullets. Not my line. And honestly, they should be, because this is the last chance I believe that DC has to give us something out of the Warner Brothers brand that actually lives up to the comics. This is it. The Snyderverse was a failure. This can not afford to be. Gunn's got to hit a home run coming out with these film projects, and it has to be Superman. And it has to actually be Superman this time, and not some imitation in a very dark world. DC overall has had far more failures than successes in the last several years, mainly because of the fascination with the incredibly dark side of these characters. Gunn's Superman is supposed to be the launching pad for the new DC universe. And what if it actually does stumble out of the gate? What does that mean? It means a catastrophe. And it's going to sound bad. The stuff I have to talk about isn't good. If it's bad, it'll take down the whole DCU with it. And we barely just begun. And it wasn't a strong start to begin with Creature Commandos. Of course, there's always a kicker. People who've seen the early cuts, and that includes some friends and executives of Mr. Gunn, say that, well, it's not great. So today we're going to be diving into all that drama, speculation, and insider gossip. And is Superman literally set to soar or crash and burn? Let's jump in. Here we go. Now, before we get started, just a quick reminder, since this is just the beginning of the video, please look down below for the subscribe button. If you can click subscribe, please do so. Become a subscriber of the channel for free, and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. There's 15 to 30 and even more pieces of content every single week that you're not going to want to miss. Now, let's start here. In the recent murmurings that started off with Jeff Snyder himself on the Hot Mic podcast, revealed that he had had dinner with a source that was connected to Warner Brothers Discovery, who claimed that Superman is in big trouble. That was the claim, not just it could be better, which I guess is something that Gunn is fond of saying, but actually this could be a big mess kind of trouble. And of course, Snyder doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to sugarcoat things. He said that the source described the movie as having the tone of Captain America, the First Avenger meets the Mummy. And yeah, that doesn't sound like the kind of optimism where Brendan Fraser is fighting CGI scarabs that you want to be thrilled about. Now, mind you, The Mummy was great as far as entertaining the audience, and Captain America, the First Avenger was incredible, but that's just the tone of what we're looking at. You're crossing up too many things. And even worse than all of this, right? Just the breakdown description of what to expect is that Nicholas Hoult, who's playing Lex Luthor in this film, is reportedly the standout performer. He's the best thing in it. First of all, that doesn't surprise me because he's absolutely brilliant, and especially in the recent film Nosferatu, and almost in every other thing he's ever been in that I've seen, including a marginally passable film, Enfield, which, again, for a vampire movie, wasn't terrible. Also had Nick Cage in it. But it at the same time wasn't the best. And I'm sure you'll agree that if the villain is the highlight of a Superman movie, that's kind of a red flag the size of Metropolis, right? Then, of course, there's the VFX situation. Only a third of the effects had been done or reportedly completed at the time of this screening. That's not uncommon. One of these friends and family screenings with some executives included. That's kind of what you're supposed to expect, is some unfinished sequences that, just kind of you have to pretend. And it's going to be quite a bit different than watching the polished visuals of a Superman film that has been, well edited with solid pacing and an incredible effort to keep the story clear with good continuity. I mean, it's like getting a cake that's only half baked. So maybe take this with some grains of salt. At least I'm going to try and remain optimistic. This is where things actually get juicier because according to insiders, Warner Brothers is already very nervous about this. They were going into this brand new adventure with all of this reboot of the entire DC. They've reportedly done reshoots and some pickups and continuity fixes, of course, but this isn't giving anybody a whole lot of confidence. In fact, one editor even texted Snyder to confirm that the project is a mess in the editing room. The editor working on this is telling Jeff Snyder that there's an editing problem. My trepidation only grows. I mean, let's talk about the tone. James Gunn is known for his humor-filled films like Guardians of the Galaxy, which a lot of people really enjoyed, but DC fans don't want a Marvel-style joke fest in a Superman movie. Thankfully, reports suggest that this film won't have very much humor, but there will be humor in it. And with that comes the sense of a giant "we'll see." Of course, at this point, there's always a twist in one of my videos. The Hollywood Reporter described the movie's early reception as being kept in the fortress of solitude. Why would you want to keep this isolated? If the feedback was good, at least according to the folks over at Cosmic Book News, because Matt McGloin wrote on this subject specifically, they would want to shout it from the rooftops and not keep it hidden away. That particular silence or attitude speaks volumes, telling us it's not great. And on the DC side, I'm a huge Superman fan. In fact, it's Superman and Batman. Those are my characters, those three. To me, that's the trio. I know they don't work for the same company, but that's what I love. So where does that leave me? Well, Superman is slated to hit theaters on July 11th of 2025. That's this coming summer. What's that? 7.5 months away or less than that now, right? It's not a lot of time to fix a project like this. I mean, they might already be flying very far off course. Something in Superman's compass could be very wrong. The synopsis for the film presents it as an epic action, humor, and heart. That's a lot of promises. They better land. Sounds great on paper, but are we about to get a hopeful Superman or a muddled attempt at pleasing everybody? Because it will be impossible to please everyone, in particular the Snyder fans who are looking for dark and gritty deconstruction. This better not be that, because you're turning off the rest of the audience. And of course, the big question is here, can DC fans be satisfied with a movie that's just okay? I'm not going to be satisfied with an okay. I'd argue, no, DC hasn't delivered a great Superman film since my early years in life, 1979. That's a long, long time ago. And if this one doesn't blow fans away, it could spell doom for James Gunn's DC universe before it even really gets started, which is something I have been sounding the warning bell for a long time. But it's not just about what I think, it's about what you think. Do you think that James Gunn's Superman is shaping up to be a hit? Or is Warner Brothers on the verge of another colossal misstep with an entire franchise IP? That's the only question I've got, actually. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Do you think DC fans will be satisfied with a decent rating on a film? Or are their expectations way too sky high? And should they be? Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, hit that thumbs up button and share this video around. As always, be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands because it's good hygiene and you don't want to get the cold/flu thing that I just had. And until next time, see you.